Joining me now is the Mayor of Windsor, Ontario, Drew Dilkens. Mr. Mayor, so good to see you today. Thanks for being with us. So I want to begin by getting your immediate reaction to Trump's 25% tariff warning. Certainly, this will impact the city of Windsor in a really big way. Your thoughts this morning?
Yeah, not entirely surprised. We've seen this cassette tape played back in the past in the first Trump presidency, and it involved tariffs on aluminum. And we've, of course, as a country, we've gone through decades of tariff conversations and fights on softwood lumber. And so not entirely surprised. But if we unpacked what the president-elect is talking about, if he's tying this to drugs, illegal drugs and illegal border crossings, I think we have a shared interest in getting to the bottom of that. I think no one in this country wants to see the illegal drug trade grow, and we've seen problems on our streets in every city across the country. So that's a fair comment that we have to work on. And then in terms of illegal border crossings, we have seen a record number of illegal border crossings from Canada into the United States just in this past year. In fact, the number this year, about 19,500 folks who were caught, is more than the last 17 years combined. And so although it pales in comparison to what the United States is seeing on their southern border, I think, a growth in the number like that certainly draws attention to what's happening on the northern border.
So do you see an opportunity for a discussion around alignment here then? We don't need to be at odds with one another. We can work together on these concerns at the border?
If that's the true issue, those two things are the true issue, as stated, I think we can find alignment. But this may be a tactic as well to try and put a tariff in place that draws everyone back to the table for an early renegotiation of the USMCA, or NAFTA, it was formerly known. And so we'll see. We'll see what it actually means. But let's not forget, I mean, it's startling to see 25% tariff put in place on all products from Mexico and Canada. It's a startling number and certainly would have a massive impact if that actually played out. But that impact wouldn't just play out on cities like mine and our country. It would also have a massive negative impact on residents in the United States and people who are buying goods in the United States. And so we saw what happened last time. We saw our premiers come together. We saw the Team Canada approach and our diplomatic corps come together, working and getting to governors in every state where we're the largest trading partner in the United States, and really laying out the roadmap of what the impact would be should a tariff come into place. And so I think that same thing happens again. I'm happy to see Doug Ford. He was, very early on in this, talking about, we will negotiate a separate agreement with the United States if it involves, hiving off Mexico, if that's what it takes. But you know what? I think we're going to get everyone together. We're going to figure this out, but it may be a little choppy as we move forward.
We are expecting to hear today from Doug Ford at 10:15 Eastern Time from Queen's Park. That was just announced a few moments ago. I want to ask you specifically about the auto industry. What are you hearing from auto industry leaders today as they absorb this news? And we should also point out to our viewers that there's so much trade just in the making of one vehicle, the parts that go back and forth. What sort of impact could a 25% tariff have on that and the purchase ultimately of a vehicle?
Well, it would end up costing a U.S. consumer thousands of dollars more to buy a vehicle. And Windsor is the auto capital of Canada. Detroit is the auto capital of the United States. Our integration on the auto supply chain here in our region, Windsor, Detroit, is so tightly integrated, Marcia. To your point, the parts that go into the vehicle that rolls off the assembly line at the end of the day have crossed the border on average 6 times. And so it is a tightly integrated supply chain. And what happens here, if there's a tariff in place, put in place on Canadian goods crossing the border, it has a direct negative impact to U.S. consumers. And I know, in the past, again, in 2018, when the president then put in place tariffs on aluminum coming from Canada, you saw that being rolled back within a year because the impact was so high on U.S. consumers. And I think what this is going to do is get everyone back to the table for an early renegotiation of NAFTA. I just hope our federal government is in place and able to get around there and do this hard work and heavy lifting that's going to be required.
And lastly, Mayor, as you say, you've been to this rodeo before. You were around during the first Trump administration and when tariffs were slapped on steel. So how seriously then do you take this 25% threat?
Well, in the short term, it can have a significant negative impact on our economy. There's no doubt about it. If it impacts our economy, that means jobs. And so this will get everyone to pay attention, which I think is exactly the reason why the president-elect went forward and put this on his social media account. He wanted to draw attention to this. He wants to bring people to the table for some sort of negotiation. And if we're talking about border crossings, illegal drugs, those are shared goals that I think we all want to work on, but I suspect it's more than that, and we'll only know after January the 20th.
Drew Dilkens is the mayor of Windsor. Mayor, thanks so much. Always appreciate talking with you.